Well, I wanted to give some instructions about how to access the Project Management Ministry webinar 1 week from today. I'm super excited about the opportunity of just sharing a little bit about project management for pastors, really in a ministry setting. Um, God just has led me on a very unique journey in my life, and for many years in my ministry, I was bivocational, which means I had another job outside of the ministry. And that job was teaching software classes. So I taught Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, and Microsoft Project. Now, the deeper I got into Project, the more was needed to really understand project management. So the company I was contracting for asked me if I'd be willing to get certified in project management and then to begin to teach a project management certification course. And I took that up right away. Always had an interest in project management. In fact, it was in ministry when I was a youth pastor that I kind of said to myself one day, I just do a lot of projects, and began reading and studying about project management. Now, the book I read initially, way back then, even before I ever got into computer training, was the book To Do, Doing, Done by Sneed and Wyckoff. But at this point in time, when the company approached me about getting certified, I knew I needed a lot more information, so I really began to study, really began to read up, and read several books, thick books on project management. Ended up taking the project certification course, passing it, and then teaching the Project Plus certification to various companies. I'm not allowed to, due to confidentiality things, say those companies' names, but if I were to say them, you would know them for sure. So anyway, love project management and love the opportunity to do it. Now, all those principles and tools that I taught, I began to implement in my own ministry. Now, some of them obviously they don't translate over, but many of them do. And the basic principles have been very helpful to me. And what I want to do is just share some of those basic principles with other guys who are in the ministry, other guys who are doing the same thing I'm doing, and to hopefully, prayerfully, give you some tools that will help you get projects accomplished with more success. The statistic is that 70% of all projects end in failure. But given the right plan and the right program, the right steps to do, you'll find your projects coming to completion with greater success for sure. So I'm excited to impart that. My prayer is that you will take the opportunity, and it will help you become more effective in accomplishing your mission, which I hope is to glorify God by making disciples. I want you to be able to plan projects that will help people understand God's Word at a fuller level or impact the community around you in a better way. And these tools can certainly do that. Now, just some important details that you need to know about this. We will be starting at 1 p.m. next Wednesday. 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I did that because I know I got several folks on the West Coast signed up to take the class, so that'll give them a chance to get in the office, grab a cup of coffee, and be there for the webinar when it starts. But 1 p.m. Eastern Time next week. And the technology I'm using is exactly what I'm using right now. It's called Google Hangouts on Air. Now, this is a free service through Google+. And it's a great service, so I'm able to broadcast out anything to anybody who has the link. They can get on it and watch it and be a part of it. Now, this is not a typical Google Hangout, so you won't see other people involved. I could do it that way. I'm just not, to avoid confusion. But it's a great tool. To really access all the features involved, I would encourage you to get signed up with Google Plus and to sign in with your Google Plus account prior to coming in. Now, Google didn't ask me to say that, but like, for example, I'm going to have a question and answer feature. That you can type in a question on your keyboard, hit enter, and I'm going to see a list of questions on my screen. To be able to type in those questions, you're going to have to be logged in with your Google Plus account. So to get a Google Plus account, I mean, really just go to Google and Google Plus, and it will show you an instructional video on how to do that. But if you have a Gmail account already, just hit the Go Plus, or whatever it's called, button on your screen, and it'll take you through it. And then log on to Google Plus and make it happen, and you'll be happy you did. Now, I don't use Google Plus really as my social media solution, though it is one. But for these kind of features, I do like it, and I really like it for doing like a replacement of Skype. So if I'm going to be talking to multiple people in a meeting online, I like to use Google Plus Hangouts. The reason I can have 10 people at one time for no cost at all, and the quality tends to be a little bit better than Skype, and definitely it's more stable than Skype. Almost every Skype call I have, something will goof up on it, where I've rarely had that happen with Google+. So I encourage you to do that. Now, to actually see the webinar, you can do it one of two ways. One, if you are logged onto Google+, add me to your circles, Jamie Hart, you'll see me in there. And you can get there from my Google account. You'll see Jamie Hart's going live, whatever, and you can click on that and you can see it that way. Probably most of you will just log on to my YouTube channel. I have that on the Facebook event page. So just go there, click on that YouTube channel, and 20 seconds after I begin the webinar, you'll see that link. You can click on it and you can watch it in its entirety. So important thing to communicate, it is a 20-second delay. So what you will be seeing happen 20 seconds before that, I say that in case you do type in questions or you text me questions or whatever, I just know I won't see it. You won't see me see it until 20 seconds later. So there's a 20-second delay on that. Other important things to know, the webinar should take probably an hour and a half, maybe as much as 2 hours, depending on the questions that I get, but it won't be much longer than that. I'm just covering the very basics of project management. I'm going to give you some principles and then some practices of how to put those principles into place, and but it won't take very long. Now, the class I taught was 8 hours a day for 5 days. So as you can imagine, I'm going way top level here, and but I think it'll be sufficient to get you on board and begin to get you using some of these important tools. I have put up a page on our website with some project resources. So if you go to harvestfortwayne/projects, harvestfortwayne.org/projects, you're going to see links to videos, links to documents. When I'm done with the webinar, I'm going to put that up there to be accessed again later. So there's hopefully some great resources there for you. Again, harvestfortwayne.org/projects. You'll see the videos there, and I encourage you to do that. Now, it is free to anyone who wants to come. So if you have friends who you think would benefit from just an entry-level project management course, you can allow them to go. So I know I have some church people coming. I actually have some people from the corporate world that are going to be watching as well. And so it's really just very general project management stuff. I'm going to be gearing it specifically toward churches, but anybody who manages projects will be able to benefit some from the webinar. My prayer, again, is that this just helps you and your ministry become more effective at making disciples for the glory of God. And I'm encouraged by the amount of people that are interested and signed up to come, and I'm looking forward to a great time. If you have any questions, you can send me an email. I'm pastor@harvestfortwayne.org. Again, pastor@harvestfortwayne.org, and email me any questions or put them on my Facebook or whatever, and I'll do what I can to get those answered for you. Looking forward to it, and God bless.